The quiet spark Madeline Carter had always been a quiet girl. At 16, she lived mostly in her own mind, an intricate world of patterns and numbers, far removed from the noise of the classroom around her. Her math teacher often mistook her drifting gaze for apathy, her quietness for weakness. But Madeline was neither careless nor incapable. In truth, she was brilliant, an unpolished gem hiding in plain sight. That day in class, she was snapped out of her thoughts by the sharp voice of Mrs. Bloom, her algebra teacher, who clearly enjoyed cornering students. "Madeline," the woman called, with a smirk that hinted at her intentions. "Why don't you come up and show the class how much attention you've been paying?" Madeline froze. The room fell silent. Whispers fluttered like moths in the corners, some students already smirking in anticipation. Mrs. Bloom had scrawled an advanced equation across the whiteboard, something far beyond the scope of their current syllabus. A challenge. A trap. She stood slowly, the legs of her chair scraping against the linoleum like a scream. As she approached the board, Madeline felt every pair of eyes on her, waiting for her to fail. But she didn't. Her mind, once cloudy with doubt, cleared as she took the marker. Her fingers trembled only slightly. She began to work through the problem, her strokes careful and decisive. The numbers unfolded naturally beneath her hand, each step flowing into the next like notes in a symphony. She solved the equation with silent grace and stepped back. The room stayed quiet. Mrs. Bloom's lips pressed into a tight line. "You solved it," she said, voice thin. "But not the way I expected." Madeline blinked. "It's still correct, I suppose," the teacher murmured. Then louder, "You took a shortcut. But sometimes, shortcuts miss important steps." The snickers returned, this time laced with confusion. Madeline's confidence faltered. Had she been wrong? Was it not enough? She returned to her seat, shoulders tense, mind swirling. That afternoon, at home, the flickering kitchen light cast a dim glow on the worn tabletop where Madeline hunched over a notebook. The air smelled of burnt coffee, a relic of her mother's failed morning attempt to function. The woman hadn't emerged from the bedroom in hours. Her home was chaos, unpredictable and sharp-edged. Her mother, once vibrant and warm, now existed in a fog of anxiety and alcoholism. Madeline's father had disappeared years ago, a shadow in her memory. The house was not a refuge, it was a battlefield. But math, that was order. That was safety. As she worked through problem after problem, her mother's door creaked open. A moment later, the woman stumbled into the kitchen, hair a tangled halo around her weary face. "What the hell are you doing?" she snapped. Madeline didn't answer. "Daydreaming again? Still wasting time on that stupid math. You think solving equations is going to put food on this table?" She slammed a crumpled paper on the table. "Solve this. Prove you're not wasting your life." Madeline stared at the problem, her throat tightening. This wasn't just anger. It was a challenge. She picked up her pen and got to work. The next morning, something shifted. Madeline walked into school not with confidence, but with a new resolve. She entered Mrs. Hargrove's classroom, her new math teacher, and for the first time, didn't sit in the back. Mrs. Hargrove was different from Bloom. Warm, encouraging, quietly brilliant. She didn't just teach formulas, she taught reason. That day, Madeline stayed after class. "I want to learn more," she said simply. Mrs. Hargrove nodded. "Good. Then let's begin." Weeks passed, and every afternoon Madeline met with her. The lessons became something more: mentorship, affirmation. For the first time, someone saw her, not just her potential, but her effort. She began to see it too. Mrs. Hargrove encouraged her to enter the citywide math competition. At first, Madeline refused. "People like me don't win those," she said. But the teacher only smiled. "People like you define them." Eventually, Madeline agreed. The night before the competition, she studied until midnight. Her mother appeared in the doorway, less drunk than usual, but still distant. "You've been at that all day," she muttered. "Don't burn yourself out." "I need to do this," Madeline replied. "It's all I have." Her mother didn't respond right away. Then, Unexpectedly, she said, "Just don't forget to take care of yourself." The words hung in the air like smoke. Unexpected, nearly tender, Madeline nodded. The next day, the auditorium buzzed with anticipation. Dozens of students, all sharper dressed and more confident than she felt, filled the hall. Among them was Vanessa McClure, graceful, poised, and the undisputed math star of the school. Madeline had always watched her from afar, measuring the chasm between them. The first few problems in the competition were easy. Madeline breezed through them. But then came the real test, an intricate calculus problem that stumped even the brightest faces in the room. Her mind blanked. Panic welled in her chest. She couldn't think, couldn't breathe. Then she heard Mrs. Hargrove's voice in her mind. "You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be persistent." Madeline took a deep breath. She visualized the problem step by step, breaking it down like they'd practiced. Her pencil moved slowly at first, then faster, until her page was filled with numbers that made sense again. She didn't know if she was right, but she had tried. She had fought for it. The competition ended. She left the auditorium quietly, head down, heart heavy. She hadn't finished all the problems. She felt she had failed. That night, her phone buzzed. A message from Mrs. Hargrove. "This is just a moment in your journey, not the whole story. I believe in you." Tears filled her eyes. She didn't feel triumphant, but she felt seen. A few days later, the results were announced at school. She didn't go to the assembly. She sat on the front steps of the building, expecting to fade into the day, but someone called her name. She turned to see Mrs. Hargrove approaching, a paper in hand and a look of joy on her face. "You won," she said simply. "First place. And a scholarship." Madeline stared at her. "You're going to Westbrook University. Full ride." It didn't register at first. Then her legs gave out beneath her, and she sat down on the steps, laughing and crying at the same time. That night, her mother surprised her by coming to her room. "I heard," she said, voice husky. "You did good, kid." Madeline nodded. "Really good." Her mother added, softer now, "I'm proud of you." And for the first time in years, Madeline believed it. She went on to graduate with honors from Westbrook, then founded a nonprofit that offered tutoring and STEM outreach to underprivileged kids. She called it the Quiet Spark, a nod to who she had once been. Every afternoon, she worked with students who reminded her of herself. Unsure, quiet, overlooked. To each of them, she said the same thing. "You don't have to be the loudest to be brilliant. You just have to believe in your spark." And as the years passed, that spark grew brighter in others, one equation, one life at a time.